Hello Scorpio and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, especially if you're a cross watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading, booking a personal reading or coaching session with me, or on my next upcoming workshop is in the description box below. And there will be more on that workshop at the end of this video. So, all right, Scorpio, we're going to start with looking at your side of the connection to the person you're dealing with. We're going to start with overall energy, and then we'll dive deeper into the story, into the connection with tarot as we progress. So let's start, Scorpio, with your side of this connection. Interesting. Okay. You have breakups and makeups, redacted, and divine timing. This kind of feels like this energy of not having the full story in some way with this redacted card. I feel like you and this person have been stuck in a cycle of breakups and makeups. So experiencing separation and distance and then eventually coming back together. It doesn't have to be a full-blown breakup, but I do feel like there's this distance and then this reconnection and then distance and reconnection. And it's been something that I feel like has had a really big impact on you, maybe even your mental health, your emotional well-being. And this divine timing card is trusting that there is divine timing at play when it comes to your love life, that things are going to work out in the way that they're meant to, when they're meant to. And I feel like you've been holding on to that, but yet there's still a lot of frustration with what's been going on in this connection. And then again, this redacted card, it's like, I don't know. It's like not having the full story, not the full truth. This person's energy towards Scorpio. Like not everything is as it seems when it comes to this person almost. This person's energy toward you. Codependency. Wild card. I mean, right out of the gate, money versus love. Oh my goodness. Right out of the gate, I can tell that this person's energy is very unpredictable. And I feel like that unpredictability is something that is like part of the issue between the two of you, and like maybe why things end up in some sort of separation or distance and then eventually kind of come back together. Maybe it's this person or their behavior that's kind of causing that. Now, this money versus love card, this doesn't necessarily mean this person is choosing money over love. You know, since these are oracle cards telling an overall kind of story, I try to take them in the context of the other cards. And I feel like with this wild card here, I feel like this person struggles with depth. It feels like surface level things, surface level connection is where they are the most comfortable, yet they crave deeper intimacy. I feel like they crave love, yet they struggle with the depth that is necessary. This codependency card is, to me, a reflection of this person's unhealthy patterns in relationships. It feels like in general, this person has some like just unhealthy approaches to relationships or expectations in relationships. I'm not quite sure what is going on here, but I do feel like the reason that this person behaves as sporadically as they do goes a lot deeper than the surface. Like, it's not, because when someone is like in and out of our life, or when somebody, one day, is all in and then the next day is really distant, it can start to have a really big effect. And I think this is what I was trying to get at. It can start to have a really big effect on like our self-esteem and like our well-being, because we're like, well, what did I do wrong? Or why did this person love me this day but like not this day? Or why did they make me feel wanted this day but now a week later I feel like they don't really care? Like, that kind of emotional roller coaster, when we're on that with somebody, it can be so incredibly challenging, because naturally we're going to view it through the lens of ourselves. Like, well, what did I do wrong? Or why am I not good enough? Or just all of those kind of insecurities really start to come out. And that's a natural, like, even if you're a super secure, super grounded person, like when you're dealing with someone who is kind of has that chaotic in and out, left and right kind of energy, like, it's going to affect you. Truth of this connection between Scorpio and the person they are dealing with. Love, separation, and ego. So there is love here. And I feel like I said when we were looking at this person's energy, I do feel like they crave depth. They crave that intimacy. But it feels like they have a tendency to look for it in the wrong places. I feel like in general, there is some ego that is causing separation in between you and this person. And ego, I think in the spiritual community is very demonized. Your ego is necessary. It's literally what keeps you alive. It becomes an issue whenever it starts making decisions for you, instead of working in, like working with your soul, if you will. And I feel like with this person, there's just this struggle to get past their own ego-driven decisions, or like ego-driven, I don't know, like responses or something that keeps this connection from being able to reach the potential and the depth that it does have, which is this love card here. So I feel like I'm gonna keep these two cards, ego and separation, because I feel like those are really talking about like what's blocking this, the love. I mean, I do feel like there, like I said, there is love here. I don't feel like this is just, and that's also why I feel like, kind of going back to what I said at the very beginning, like you not having the full picture. I think that there's a lot more to this story and why this person is behaving the way that they are than you might think. Not that that justifies behavior by any means, but when we can understand why someone does the things that they do, or why they're acting the way that they are, like it can help us separate like our worth or our feelings about ourselves and what's possible for us in love from the decisions that they're making. And that can be really healing in a lot of ways, or ultimately help on the healing journey. Overall theme of this connection between you and this person, Scorpio. Underlying motives. Yeah, underlying motives. There's more motivating this person's decision than anything that has to do with you. Like their behavior isn't as black and white as it might seem. Overstepped boundaries. I am their light. I feel like you see this person through a very like empathetic lens. And I think that you have a lot of understanding for them. Yet at the same time, or like there's this like really wanting to help them, I guess is a better way of saying that. I feel like you in this connection have repeatedly experienced your boundaries being overstepped, your needs not being respected, things of that nature. It feels like a lot of the time your feelings just aren't being taken into consideration. And that, isn't fair to you. You deserve to have somebody who cares about how their decisions or actions affect your feelings. But again, I feel like there's more to it than that. So with that being said, I feel like this reading is to try to help you zoom out your lens a little bit so that you look at this connection from a more zoomed out perspective in some way. Because I feel like this is like really affecting you. Or maybe this is a past connection that has really affected you. Like a lot of things went down and now your self-esteem is struggling. You're struggling to trust people, like things of that nature too. Like if this is in the past, I'm not quite sure. But let's see. Scorpio side of this, breakups and makeups with redacted. Scorpio's energy toward the person they are dealing with. I mean, yeah, right out of the gate, you have this Seven of Cups. There's so much overwhelm emotionally in this connection, and almost like a lot of confusion, like not being able to make sense of why this person does certain things, or like why their behavior is the way that it is. With this Two of Swords here, it kind of feels like you're a little bit torn. I feel like you really want to be there for this person, maybe to help them heal, help them, be happy and healthy and all of these things. But it feels like in the meantime, you're really getting the short end of the stick here. And I feel like that's what you're struggling with the most. A lot of times we have a tendency to suppress our own needs and our own feelings because, I think that a lot of us have a tendency to step into the role of being in service to others and like almost like trying to be what they need us to be or what they want us to be or whatever the case is. But then we end up feeling undervalued and broken and not, chosen, and all of these things that I feel like this connection really brings up for you, especially with the Hermit in reverse. I feel like there's this sense of like loneliness in this connection. Like no matter how much you love them or you're there for them, it just feels like you're constantly left alone or on your own. Like maybe you're always there when they need you, but when you need someone, when you need support or you need, the same kind of care, I feel like it's like they're crickets. Like they're nowhere to be found, or they start to make you feel maybe like your issues or your problems are a burden, which, your feelings aren't a burden. You needing support from another human being is not a burden. That is absolutely an okay thing to need. And I think that in this connection, there's a lot of romantic feelings that you have, or just like even if it's not a romantic connection, because it doesn't have to be. There's a lot of strong, just like good feelings that you have for this person. And I feel like that's why you've put so much into this connection. But I feel like no matter how much you pour into this, no matter how much you're there for them, no matter how much you try to help them, it just feels like it's never enough. It feels like you're always draining yourself to fill up somebody else's cup, but then you're sitting there with an empty cup. Like, can I have some back? Like, I gave you a lot of me when you needed it, and now I really need some. And then again, it's like there's that distance, that separation, and then it's just like, I don't know, it just feels like you're really this is really taking a toll on you, and has for a really long time. Because with this Ten of Wands, I feel like you've been carrying a lot. Like you carry, I feel like, the burden in this connection, the emotional burden. Like I said, like you're always the one that's there for them. And that's why I feel like you're feeling torn, because you do see that potential in this connection. You see the potential in this person, but at the same time, you're not getting what you need. So of course, like anyone in your position is going to feel the way that you feel here. It's natural. I mean, it would be, it would be, let's say, like, it would be unnormal, I guess, is a good way of putting that, for you to not feel the way that you do. So just know that your feelings are valid. I think a lot of the times when we're dealing with people who, don't take our feelings into consideration, and we have feelings and we have needs, sometimes we can start to feel like we're asking for too much. We're asking for too much when we're being asked to be chosen or loved well or treated with respect or kindness or compassion or whatever the case is. And you're never asking for too much when you're being asked for those things, when you're asking for those things. So just know that. But let's see what this person's got going on. Money versus love with wild card, because yeah, they're a little bit all over the place. A little bit all over the place here. This person's energy towards Scorpio. Queen of Wands in reverse. You could be dealing with a fire sign. Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, but you definitely don't have to be. Goodness, okay. Three of Cups in reverse. This person kind of carries that energy of like feeling alone in a crowded room. There's the King of Wands again. Not like more fire sign energy. Five of Cups. The Magician. Whoa. The Five of Pentacles. This is very confusing. Interesting. Okay. So this person, I said it at the very beginning, how I said that they struggle with depth. And that they, interesting. Whoa. Okay, so you had the Two of Swords and the Hermit in reverse too. Right here. Like these are the same two cards. And then those just came out back to back for them. So that must mean something. Okay, I'm going to take both of these. Okay, so I talked in the very beginning about how this person struggles with depth. And I feel like with this Three of Cups in reverse, this person has a tendency to keep themselves very isolated in their life. It feels like maybe they don't have a lot of like deeper connections. Like everything is very surface level. And I feel like when something starts to get deeper or starts to push them into a deeper state, they very much withdraw their energy. But then with the Five of Cups, I feel like they miss the absence of that energy in their life. So then they end up showing back up. They come back in, right? Because I don't feel like they necessarily want to lose you and to lose this connection, but it does at the same time feel like their comfort zone is almost like isolation. Like this person is more comfortable being alone than they are actually having a partner or having like a deeper connection. Now this goes back to what I was talking about when I talked about ego. You know, our ego, its goal is survival. So it's going to put us in situations where it knows it can survive. And this person might know that they're able to survive 100% on their own. And with the Queen of Wands in reverse, like this to me kind of shows this energy of struggling with intimacy, or like maybe not physical intimacy, but like any kind of realness. It feels like they struggle with realness. Maybe has a tendency to wear a mask, has a tendency to kind of hide behind the version of them their ego presents, even though, that's not who they really are. And I think that it's interesting because with the Magician here, I feel like they want to create that deeper connection. They want to have intimate, love. They want that essentially what this has a tendency or has a potential to become. But yet their decisions and the things that they do are more reflective of their fears, because I feel like this person has a deep fear of intimacy, of letting people in, of letting people behind that mask, of letting people get close to them. And I feel like that's what you ultimately desire, right? You want that closeness, you want that depth, you want that intimacy. And as soon as it feels like you start to get there and things start to get serious or like real, like I kind of hear the word like real, that's when separation occurs. That's when there's distance. That's when this person pulls away or does something that makes you pull away, right? Does some sort of self-sabotage or says certain things or whatever that makes you go, oh, whoa, what's going on? And remove your energy. So that the breakup and makeups, it's not coming. And I think this is what's important for you to know. It's not that this person doesn't value you. It's not that they don't see your value. In fact, I feel like it's actually the opposite. I do feel like they do very much value you and what you bring to their life. But it feels like the fear of depth, the fear of intimacy, the fear of letting people in, like that's something that is actually keeping them from really letting go and surrendering to this and allowing things to really develop here. Now that's a reflection of their healing or I guess lack of healing. I feel like this person has a lot of work to do on themselves to be able to show up in a way that you ultimately deserve. And maybe you see that, and that's why you have this I am their light card, trying to be there to support them, to help them. But I think that it's also important for you to take into account like your own feelings and to make sure that you are not over prioritizing what this person needs, because that's where it like flip-flops. It's like, and I feel like that's why you both have the Two of Swords with the Hermit in reverse, is the loneliness and the isolation that you feel is not a result of this person not seeing that you are lovable or deserving of love or whatever the case is. It's a reflection of how they prefer. They prefer that distance. They prefer that separation. They prefer that isolation on like a ego conscious level. Now remember, 95% of the movement of our movements, choices, and decisions stem from our subconscious. Only 5% of the way we interact with our reality is conscious level decision making. So the majority of this person, where our subconscious is where our fears are stored. It's where our doubts are stored. It's where our insecurities are stored. This person is making decisions based on those things: fears, doubts, insecurities, expectations in relationships, these unhealed parts of them that believe that they are unlovable or not capable of love, or if you see who they really are, then you wouldn't love them anyway, so they might as well just keep you at a distance and, make themselves out to be somebody that you love. But then when you get too close, they get afraid, so they push you away. Like there's this habit forming, or that has been forming in this person's world for a while, and I feel like that's what you're needing to know is this person's decisions. They're reflecting more these deeper fears. Now, those are then making you feel a certain way, right? They're making you feel very alone and very isolated and not cared about and not seen and not heard and not valued. And all of your feelings are 100% valid, okay? Very, very important for you to know. But at the same time, it's important to separate the way that you feel or the way that this person makes you feel from this idea that they're doing it to hurt you, or that they don't see your value, because I feel like they absolutely do, but they're struggling with seeing their own value enough to allow themselves to connect to you on a deeper level. And again, I started out with saying that this person struggles with depth, and I feel like that's how I'm ending this reading, because any kind of connect or any kind of moment that I feel like starts to push this person into that depth, they avoid that at all costs. And I think that that's where you're needing to separate like what's in your control and what's not, right? Because what's not in our control is other people's healing, other people's decisions, other people, their behaviors or how they show up. right? What is in our control is how we respond and what we do with what other people show us that they're capable of. And I think that in this connection, the perspective that you're needing to take is to look at this, because I started this out with like you don't have the full story. And I think that a lot of what like the ways that you're seeing their behaviors are probably through the lens of your own insecurities or fears, or like, oh, they're acting this way because I'm not good enough, or I'm not valuable enough, or I'm not attractive enough, or I don't make enough money, or whatever the case is. That's not at all why they're acting this way. They're acting this way, or the real reason for their behavior is their own insecurities, their own fears, their own unhealed parts of themselves that are really getting in the way. You know, I said in the very beginning, I said there's an ego is in the way of the love that exists in the connection and the potential that exists here. And that's what's causing this separation. That is, you know, not in your control. The way that this person acts, the ego place that they act from, like that's not in your control. But what is in your control is making sure that you are protecting like your worth and your value, and you're looking at this from a perspective of like, you know, for me, a lot of times when people are harming me with their behavior, I try to look at it from a place of empathy where it's like, you know, I have so much love to give, and it's unfortunate that this person isn't healed enough to allow me to love them so that we can have, you know, a really wonderful connection. Instead, I'm going to have to take my love elsewhere, or I'm going to have to create distance in this connection so that I don't keep getting drawn back in to this person's cycle, this person's in and out that they're, you know, struggling with within themselves. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot here to unpack for sure. It's probably not as simple, right, as the energy makes it seem. Rarely ever is. But I do think that zooming out your perspective and looking at it like less about, oh, this person is behaving this way because of me, and more, this person is behaving this way because of them, that can really help you figure out, okay, so what can I do here? What's within my power? What's within my control? And how can I make sure that I'm showing myself the love that I deserve, which is ultimately where you're going to attract the love that you deserve. Well, in between this connection, you have ego with separation. We're going to hop on over to the extended, looking at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. First, before I hop on over to that, I want to reiterate my next workshop is going to be on April 25th at 6 p.m. Central Time. It's a live workshop over Zoom, but if you cannot make it live and you purchase a ticket, you will receive a recording the next day. So the only thing you'll miss out on if you opt for the recording over attending the live event is there will be a Q&A session that obviously you will not be able to take part of, but you will receive the recording of the Q&A session. Any information on that is at the very top of the description box below. This workshop I didn't even mention is all about the secret to manifesting, which ultimately is embodiment. You know, I think we hear a lot about positive thinking and vision boards and all of kind of the surface level tools for manifestation, but manifestation is so much more than that. It's become a buzzword. And I'm, you know, that's wonderful. I want more people to discover it. It's something that's very real and very accessible to a lot of people. But the reason that it doesn't work for a lot of people is because there's a lack of embodiment. So this workshop is all about what that really means and helping you really step into your power, your manifesting power, so that you can not just, you know, dream and think about the things that you want, but actually tangibly create them. So that's what this workshop is all about. I'm super excited for this one. I've poured a lot of heart and soul into it. So I hope to see you guys there. Thank you so much, Scorpio, as always, for your support of my channel. I obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Scorpio.